Warm blessings, Master Shaman Palai Chi here with Faliti Healing. Today I want to talk to you about 8 ways you can get rid of negative energy. And so you should probably do it in the order that I suggested here, just so that it can work in its way through to what it needs to cleanse. So number 1, cleanse yourself by spraying water. In the ancient or old days, they used to use their mouth to spray the water. So you would put the water bottle, in your mouth and spray it. So what you would do is you would take a water bottle and you would open it. And then wherever you're feeling that is negative, the area that you have walked into or that you're living in, your household, you can take a spray at it. So you would just take it and spray it. And by spraying it, you're actually clearing the energy, basically the molecules, maybe in the scientific way, but in the spiritual way, you're clearing the negative energies that are surrounding you or that you have just walked into. And that's one way how you can cleanse negative vibrations or energy that is surrounding you or that you are surrounded by. The other way is to shift your energy. Shifting your energy, meaning you would put on a smile or you would take it and think differently. So you would take, how you shift that is you would think differently. So for example, you see somebody that you maybe have crossed paths with and you don't really get along with that person. It's okay, you can look him in the eye, or you don't have to, but you don't have to necessarily think anything of them. And so what you need to do is first off, the moment you see them, think about being unbiased and just know, okay, well, that's another person on earth and it's another human being. I shouldn't feel this way or judge them, and I will move forward. And so in that, you would take that thought, utilize that thought, and then move on with it and just walk on by. Positive reacting to this energy helps to redirect the energy into a different route. The other way is to put on an incense stick. So when you put on an incense stick, it starts to have incense sticks will have a smoke-like effect. And so the smoke-like effect, or I also call it the clearing effect. Now this is the clearing with smoke and not water. The other way was water. Now we're talking about smoke or fire in that sense. So with an incense stick, you're actually clearing the energy that surrounds you with smoke or another air energy type. And so we always say fight fire with fire. Well, here you're using smoke to basically fight off negative energies that surround you. So when you light up an incense stick, you just kind of shake it or blow it. I usually like to shake it and then let it just go by itself. And I have an incense holder, and basically you just put it in the incense holder and leave it there. And you can take this around the room and just kind of, remove the negative energies that surround you, or you feel like something's negative around your body or around the room. You would take it around and just take it like this, but be careful in case this tip part falls off. And so that's one thing that I would say to utilize as a one way to get rid of negative energies is by using incense smoke. The other way is also with the incense, related to the incense, is the saging. And some of you know about that and some of you don't. But to sage is also another way to use the smoke to fight off the negativity that surrounds you, that you feel that is around you. One other way here, the number 3 is we talked about that. Setting up a time to focus on yourself. So when you focus on yourself, we talked about this in another video, is to put an intention there. So when I say getting rid of negative people, but then you're also thinking about and focusing on you, what does this really mean? It means don't shoot any negative thoughts to the other person that may be negative to you or that you feel negativity from. What you want to do is actually focus on yourself and bring yourself a good thought that moves you away from that other person. It moves you away from their negativity, and let their negativity be. You don't need to deal with that. Let that be. What you need to deal with is taking you from one point A to point B, which is the positivity area, so to speak. Then we get to number 5. Avoid deep conversations with negative people. When you actually get into a deeper conversation with negative people, especially into a certain subject area that is sensitive to them, they may get really heated. Or the other way is to be very defensive on certain subject areas that you talk about, or a topic that you will dive into. Be careful how and when and where you dive into that subject area. That will help the negative thinking person. And sometimes this person isn't really negative themselves. It's just the way they're thinking that is causing the negativity to occur in the conversation or in the situation that you're in. So by avoiding deep conversations, you kind of go on a more shallow area of the topic, and so not much will be felt or really have an opinion about. So I think that with me, anyways, by experience, I tend to not go into a deep conversation when the feeling of intensity is there between myself and the next person. The other way is to just basically, sometimes, I'll say this truthfully, sometimes the conversation doesn't even have to be deep. It could be very shallow. It could be just one word, and then you're off to an argument. And if that's the case, then you want to basically avoid the time, avoid that person for that time, and then come back later on when the person is actually in a better mood. And sometimes there isn't a better mood, and I've seen those ones too. So they've got to bring something to themselves, bring it up to themselves, this issue or this anger part of them, that, get to the roots of why are you so angry. And so when you talk about that part, this person may not want to talk about it, so they may avoid it. They may try to, talk about other things, and that might be the case. So you might have to go around in circles before you could actually get to the root cause. But the person themselves also need to admit that they have anger issues, or there's something going on within themselves that is causing them to be truly angry at whoever comes their way. And that may not be very fair to the next person that's in line, but this person needs to really take a look at what's really going on and get some help. Whether they help themselves, that's number 1, or they find help and healing to heal some of that anger and manage some of that in a different way. Another reason why you really wouldn't want to have a deep conversation with a person that is usually easy to get to their temper is that it may lead to a rumor of some sort. So whatever you're saying, they may not be hearing correctly or receiving it correctly anyways. So there's no point in really talking out things. And sometimes when you do talk calmly, it could be fed in and received well, but as soon as it triggers an anger part of them, or presses a button like we say, then they will not be able to hear exactly what you're saying correctly anymore, and therefore there's no point in moving forward in the conversation. It's just going to be better off to wait until another time, or through a silent different way to deal with that and to communicate that way. And sometimes I hear this often, that in relationships it's hard to communicate with that partner after a certain period of time, and so they really may not ever communicate, and so there'll be a period of time, like maybe 3 to 6 months, that there's really no real communication, just a here and a there. So that could be a problem, and that can become a bigger problem, especially if you're in the relationship together and you're doing this. You're having this passive aggressive feedback towards each other, and that's not going to be healthy for your relationship. So whether you're in that relationship or not, it's always good to go back at a certain point to approach the person if you want to bring that communication to peace. Otherwise, somebody has to gain healing, and somebody is just going to have an argument or a conflict to resolve the conflict. So if that makes sense to you, then we'll leave it at there. But if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below, and we can try to answer some things. Number 6, again, this goes back to one of the other videos that I just did. You have to have a smile on your face, or put a smile on your face anyways. Adding the smile to your face actually really brings you to kind of say with a gesture like, I'm trying to be kind here, or I want to move forward. Now, don't try to be smart and be sarcastic with your smile, because definitely it will be felt. But to just have a neutral smile on your face, if anything, on a certain time, and maybe it's not right at the moment, but after the argument, or perhaps after just meeting these the people that you feel negativity towards, just moving forward and being more neutral about your face. The facial expression is really important because it could definitely be misjudged or misinterpreted, and therefore that would bring you some trouble as well if they misinterpret your facial expression, or if you misinterpret theirs. So number 1 rule is to keep it neutral with your facial expression and keep it kind. The more kind that you can be, the better off you are pushing off that negativity, and it's not going to come near you. Again, this goes back to focusing on you and you moving forward, moving to from point A to point B, with you moving away from the negative energy. And in this, I wanted to say that truthfully, negative people are not negative because of you. Negative people, or the way they're thinking is negative, could be because of a childhood past, or whoever they were just with that has influenced their mind or their thoughts to be more negative. And they could also be because they were surrounded by negative people. Again, that's similar, but less personal. And so the social surrounding, or the personal, or the home that you come from, the energy and place that you come from, is the surrounding that influences the negativity or the negative thoughts. And the way you do things is negative because of the influence that is around you. So number 1 is just know that truthfully the person is not having this negativity because of you if you're positive, but it is because of where they come from, or where they're coming from more presently. Or for example, experiences that they've had that were negative, and so now you get a piece of that negativity if you meet them along the path. But just know that it's not personal to you. That's what I want you to understand, so that you can know to focus on yourself when you meet this negative person, because it's not about you, it's about themselves. The negativity is about themselves. Remember that. And so when you start to realize this and be more conscious of this, then you're going to leave that person alone, because they need this time to kind of heal or connect back to themselves. And in their personal time, believe it or not, they're going to think back to themselves, I really need help. But in reality, or face to face, they're not going to tell you that they need help. But realistically, they do. And at some point in time, when the wall hits harder, or when they hit the wall harder, either way, they're going to find some kind of help or healing that will eventually help them to move their negative habits outward. So in this, it's best and always good to refocus your energy from negative to positive, and actually be conscious of that and conscious of doing that when you're in that situation. By doing that, you're actually not feeding their fire, or so to speak, and so you're actually moving the fire out and lessening it. Thanks again for watching my video. Comment down below and let me know from 1 through 8 which one you're going to try, or which ones that you have tried to utilize on getting rid of negative energies. I'd like to see you actually comment and let me know if you actually will try the spraying water one. That one's actually usually interesting and fun. So on the after outcome or results of that. So let me know how that goes for you in the comments down below, and be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I hope to come out with more videos for you. It's for information or just for fun. This has been Master Shaman Palai Chi with Palai Healing. Warm blessings.